Hello everybody and welcome to Zentangle Project Pack number 25 and the 2024 12 Days of Zentangle celebration. This is Julie Willand and I am so excited to kick things off with you guys here today with our very first lesson in this series. All throughout this year, we have been celebrating Zentangle's 20th anniversary, and through our blogs and newsletters and products and our project packs, we have just been focusing on some different parts of the Zentangle method and really celebrating how it all came to be. This project pack is no different as we look at the drawing behind technique, which most of us have learned through the Tangle Hollabaugh, and really just take a deep dive into drawing behind and shading and adding lots of depth and dimension to our Zentangle art using some really fabulous tools. And I am so excited to get started with you here today. I'm going to be working on a Zentangle Phi tile in white. All of these materials can be found in the Zentangle Project Pack number 25, which is available on Zentangle.com and from some of our certified Zentangle teachers. The tools I'm using today are the General's Kimberly watercolor black pencil. This one is so much fun. I have a white Jelly Roll 10 paintbrush for our watercolor pencil. I have 3 pencils here today. Lots of shading going on. We have a Zentangle graphite pencil, a General's white charcoal pencil, and then this fabulous General's layout pencil, which we released earlier this year. I've got tortillons for all of those. I also have some water handy for my watercolor pencil and just some scrap pieces of paper that you may want to have handy. And take a moment to clear my workspace of any distractions. And when you're ready, I invite you to take a moment to take a deep breath with me. Take a moment for gratitude and appreciation for this time we have tangling together, for this season, for the people in our lives. And when you're ready, I invite you to take your Phi tile, and we are going to start right with this watercolor pencil here. So no dot border string today. And I'm going to begin, I want to create it's a very technical term, a blob of this black watercolor. And so I'm going to start by drawing directly on my tile, and I'm being a little heavy-handed because I want this to be dark. I'm not really worried about shape or anything right now because we will shape it with our water and our brush. I just want to make sure I have enough of this watercolor down. And I'm using the side of the watercolor pencil. I'm not going straight down with it. So now I have this black cloud of watercolor down. I'm going to grab my water and my paintbrush, and I'm going to add some water to the pencil and just start. I'm going in like a circular motion, spreading it out. And we don't want too much water because, again, I want it to be dark. and pretty big, not taking up my whole tile. And I don't want it to be a perfect circle. Again, I was calling it a blob. So it's gonna a little shape to it. And then once I've done that, here at the bottom, I'm going to drag some of this watercolor down. And I'm going to make a stem. And it doesn't have to be as dark as the blob. That is the shape we're working with today. So we're going to take a moment because we want this to dry completely before we begin tangling on it. So if you want to set this aside, and you can go grab a snack, grab something to drink, get something else done, maybe grab another tile and work on that. But we want to let this one completely dry, and so I will see you guys soon. And welcome back, everybody. Here we have our watercolor that is completely dry on our tile. And we're ready to start tangling. So I'm going to be working with the white Jelly Roll pen. And that's why we wanted to make this really dark, because we are using white ink on top of it. And as always, you can do it on the back of your tile, you can do it on a scrap piece of paper tile, but you want to warm up that jelly roll just by drawing on a piece of paper a little bit. And we're going to draw the tangle umble today, and umble is very hollabaugh-esque, so we're really going to be focusing on that drawing behind technique. But instead of in hollabaugh we just start putting our bands down randomly, umble is a little bit more methodical. So if you want to follow along, and as always, you can watch any of these videos through before starting just to get an idea of what we're doing. I'm going to begin on the edges of my blob. I'm going to be drawing one band or one line, and then I'm going to aura that line, but I'm going to leave quite a bit of space. My bands are going to be a lot thicker than maybe traditional hollabaugh. And go back here if your pen skips a little bit and redefine the line. And now I'm going to aura each of these lines. That's what I'm doing on the inside. But this one I think I'll do on the outside. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes one lends itself better. And then I'm going to do it again. And again, I'm still kind of working on the perimeter here of my blob. And when I get to this first band that I put down, I'm going to draw behind. So I'm going to pick up my pen. I'm going to imagine as if my line is continuing underneath that first band. And then continuing on the other side. Again, I'm going to keep going along the edge here. Each of my bands going underneath one of my previously drawn bands. this one here, I'm going to pretend as if my band is underneath here, maybe goes outside of my blob, but I'm going to keep it my ink stain. Maybe that's a more technical term. Sounds nicer than blob. And I'm kind of going to ignore my stem on here for now and just imagine that my ink stain stops right there. So now that I have my bands kind of on the edge of the ink stain here, I'm going to kind of keep going around filling in this shape with my bands all the way to the middle, and just weaving my bands in and out. So now that I have all of my umbel down, I'm going to find a band that looks like I could continue down the stem, and I think it's this one right here. I'm gonna imagine it's drawing behind, and this side. And so that one's going to be the one that kind of goes down the stem. You'll see in a minute what we're going to do with that. But after I finish my umbel, I'm going to go back into each of these bands, and I'm going to add the tangle doodah. So doodah is a fun one. It kind of looks like a zipper almost. I'm going to show you in one of my bands, and then we can go off and we can fill each of our bands with doodah. So I'm going to start on one side of my band, and I'm going to start kind of right here so I can show you what it is. But I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to draw a line that goes almost to the other side, and I'm not going to touch the other side. And then right next to it, I'm going to start my line on the opposite side. I'm going to draw it across almost to the other side, but again, not touching it. And we're just going to go back and forth and do this, alternating side to side. Each line roughly equidistant apart. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Turning your tile. Remembering to breathe. You'll find what's comfortable for you. Is it starting on the edge and working towards the middle? Or is it starting on inside the space and coming to the edge? So again, we're going to fill each of these, and you can see kind of at the bottom here, you lose some of your band at the ends here. So you can just imagine where that line would start or end. And we're going to do this to each of our bands. So there we have all of our doodad umbled, or umbled doodad, rather. It's always funny, Zentangle speak, because none of those are real words, but you all know exactly what I'm talking about. Once you have that, we're going to start shading. And I am going to pick up this General's Layout Pencil. And I'm going to go to my Doodad Umble, and I'm going to pick one side, and I'm going to add quite a bit of this. And then take my tortillon, and I'm going to smooth it out. Bring it towards the middle, but not all the way across. Look how dark that is. And then I'll show you how we're going to shade each of the bands. Because then I'm going to pick up the white charcoal, and on the opposite side of the band, I'm going to add that highlight. I find I don't often really need a tortillon for the white charcoal, but if you want to, you can go back and smooth that out. That's how we're going to shade each of these umbles. Remember, pay special attention to where the umbles overlap each other, because you want to put some shading down there too, just to really give it depth and dimension. We're going to add some of our pencil there. And again, adding the pencil to one side. And I'm going to kind of, as best as I can, like choose the same size on each of my umble. In each of them, but they're all going in different directions, so that won't be, so just kind of making an effort. And then again, going back in with my white charcoal. And so now I invite you to do that with all of the umbles on your tile. And there we have it, all of our umbles shaded. And you can see with the stem, I just continue with the trend of the black, the dark on one side and the white on the other. But I just love the way the white pops on that watercolor, and then that layout pencil is just absolutely so much fun for shading and just adding all that depth and dimension in all these different layers. So then, although we didn't use a micron, but you might want to grab one, or you can use your jelly roll, and you just want to add your chop somewhere on your tile. And then always turn it over. Sign in. I'm going to put the hashtag. These will also be in the description of each video. And there we have it. Thank you so much, everybody, for tangling along. This was so much fun, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And I can't wait to see what you guys create the rest of the series. Thank you.